Greetings, Quester, and welcome to the Quest Report with Matt and Richard.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Fluxx today, and Fluxx, just as a brief overview, is a card game. It comes in many different varieties. It seems like it's quite a simple game at first, and it is, but it is quite chaotic as well, because basically the game starts in quite a simple way. Like the rules will be, you take one card when it's your turn, and you play one card onto the table. But then some of the cards that you play will actually change those rules. So you might start to draw 2 cards each time and play one. You could be drawing 4 and having to play them all. Or you could be drawing 5 and still only be able to play 1, and then there's a hand limit which makes you discard them. Now, that changes what you actually do quite a lot. But one of the interesting things is the fact that the goal will change as well, what you actually need to do to win the game. So this is decided by a goal card that will be played, but at any time in the game on their turn, someone could play another goal card which will replace the one that's already in play. So you might be working towards something, and then suddenly the goal changes, and then you have to start trying to do something else. So that's basically what Fluxx is. The different types of Fluxx, mostly it's just different themes. So it'll be the same game, but there'll be different types of cards that you're collecting with a different theme, as I say. But some of the rules are a little bit different, so we're going to talk about some of those as well. So these are the main types that we've got to talk about. We'll talk about some of these anyway, if you want to.
Yeah, well, there's as we say, there's a lot of different versions of Fluxx. So you've got the Adventure Time Fluxx, Oz Fluxx, Monster Fluxx, Pirate Fluxx, Cartoon Network Fluxx. 2 that I particularly wanted to really enjoy, the Batman Fluxx and the Firefly Fluxx. All in all, there's well over 10 different varieties, aren't there? But we did think a lot of these, although some of them have, as Richard says, slightly different mechanics. So for example, with the Pirate one, you tend to spend a lot of the emphasis of the game stealing other players' cards, because you're pirates and you steal things. However, there were 3 in particular that we wanted to talk about because we think that they are the best and they offer something a little bit different. So the 3 that we wanted to talk about today was Monty Python Fluxx, the Star Fluxx, and Cthulhu Fluxx. So, Richard, what did you think of Monty Python Fluxx? Why does that one stand out to you?
Well, mostly it's because of the theme, and it does cover quite a lot of Monty Python, and I just think some of the goals are quite interesting in that one. As I was talking about with the goals before, there are some very different. Just as an example of some of the different ones that you might have to go for. This goal is called Squashed from Above, and to win the game when that card is in play, you would need to have the finger of God and the foot on the table in front of you. But while you're collecting those, you could suddenly get the Book of Armaments used instead, which would replace that as a goal, and then you'd have to collect the Holy Hand Grenade and the Important Message. So a lot of these things are things that you will kind of recognise from Monty Python, and it's quite fun just to be collecting these things and to have it with that theme.
I do think that if you want a quick fun game of Fluxx, Monty Python is the best one to pick up, hands down. And the reason for that is, for me, some of the rules that you can play, because you play new rules into the game.
Yeah, random rules.
I mean, you can have the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch, which is always good, which will blow thine enemies to smithereens.
Being naughty.
For being naughty, yes. But you can get rules that give you more cards to draw if you can quote some of the lines from the film to each other. You also get new rules where you can take an extra card or play an extra card if you sing some of the songs.
Yes, so or speak in an outrageous accent.
Which is hilarious, especially after a beer or two.
It's very difficult to keep up, though, until it's your next turn.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, because if you keep it up to your next turn, you can then take an extra card on top of the the additional card. And so there's a lot of ways to get and play different cards, but it's just a really fun version, and it's definitely the most fun version of the Fluxx games for me.
Yeah, I think so.
So there's that one. The other one, which is in many ways the better mechanically and the more interesting, is Star Fluxx. Now with Star Fluxx, it's drawn from various sci-fi franchises. So you've got, the expendable crewman in the red shirt, and the takes on the Jedi Knights and on Doctor Who, and
so they're almost.
Yeah. So for copyright reasons, we have to say they are almost. And then you've got characters there from Firefly and all sorts of different sci-fi franchises. And some of the abilities in that is what makes it really interesting to me, because you can get cards that allow you to do different things. So you can get rid of creepers, cards that allow you to teleport other cards. There's a card based on the TARDIS which allows you to go through the discard pile and keep playing cards that have already been played. So that does give you a lot more interesting things to do during the game. Even more so than the fun of the theme. It's the fact that you can do all these different things that you can't do in almost any of the other kind of Fluxx games, which is why I think that one, if you were going to own 3 copies of Fluxx, that would be one of the ones that I would recommend trying.
Yeah, it's nice that it's, like you say, it's several franchises. So it's just various sci-fi films and series that you'll recognise quite a lot, and it's just quite fun. Then you get the cards. Obviously, it won't quite say Jedi or something. Or it won't be something about Starfleet, but yeah, you kind of know what it is.
If you play Smash Up, you'll know what they're doing.
Smash Up make it really obvious, don't they? They're doing that. Okay, so that's Star Fluxx, and then the other one I wanted to talk about was Cthulhu Fluxx.
This guy.
Yeah, we had to have Cthulhu here with us while we were talking about his Fluxx.
Yeah.
So, there's a few different rules in that again, isn't there, that you were going to talk about?
There was one that particularly stood out to me. Now, in every edition of Fluxx, you have goals that you're trying to accomplish, which is typically, as we say, you're trying to have certain cards in front of you. But with Fluxx, Cthulhu, there is a variation on this where you have an ungoal as opposed to a goal. Now, what happens is, whereas with the other versions, you meet the criteria for the goal and you win the game, with an ungoal, if it's been played, if the criteria has been met, everybody loses the game. Which is just typical of a Lovecraft game, just to come in and kill everybody, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, again, mechanically, it's not that there are a huge amount of differences from this to some of the other ones. It's just the idea of having that ungoal, for me, makes it different enough to the other editions to warrant considering having that in your collection if you wanted to collect 3 versions of Cthulhu Fluxx. Yeah,
and plus Cthulhu games always do really well, don't they? They're always fun. We normally end up going insane during them, but this is an example of an ungoal. There's this one called Inevitable Doom. So it talks about if the total doom count for the table is 6 or more, and fewer than 3 investigators are in play, the game ends with no one the winner. So, as you said, that was just an everybody loses situation.
And, sometimes it's nice to play a game where everybody loses.
Yeah, well, it's a bit more character building than everybody winning.
I do find that Fluxx is a game that people either generally love it or they hate it. A lot of people don't like how random it is. If you don't like games with quite high random elements, then you're probably not going to like this game. Also, a lot of the timings is random. I mean, if you look on the sides of the boxes, they do specify from 10 minutes to 40 minutes. We've played games. We've never played a 40-minute game. I think half an hour was the longest game we've ever played of any.
We've played some that have seemed to but.
Yeah, they
they
felt longer than 30 minutes, didn't they?
I mean, in 30 minutes, you'd have 100 turns.
Yeah.
Basically, it's so quick to do.
Most of our games tend to be probably between 5 and 15 minutes.
Normally, somebody wins pretty quick. Yeah.
Generally, it's just like a filler game while we're waiting for somebody else or to set a few things up. So, and also, if you do play the
Which one?
which edition is it? The one where you're toking. The cards do tell you.
One.
Yeah, there is a version
Stoner
of that Stoner Fluxx. That's what it's called. There is a version of Stoner Fluxx which we can seriously not recommend because there are token cards where if you get a card you're supposed to toke. So we don't play that one, do we? Because we don't toke. But there we go. So
although that time when we did play it, we didn't toke. We just played the game.
We tried it out once, didn't we? But we
yeah.
just didn't toke. But
We didn't have anything to toke with.
yeah.
So yeah, we just played the cards and
Not
stuff.
that that's the reason why we didn't toke, but yeah, for many people, they won't like the random nature of the game, the random length, but it is really just about trying to accept that it is very random, very chaotic, and having the best setup of cards in front of you so that you can turn that chaos to your advantage, because you can quite easily go from being in a position where you have no chance of winning to getting the right card in your hand. You play it and you've won the game.
Although somebody can play an action card and steal most of your cards from in front of you, so
There is a
that
lot
kind of thing can happen. So
that does
it's
happen
still
back and
random.
forth, doesn't it?
Yeah, it can be very annoying sometimes, but most of the time it's really fun as well. So it is a game that we like, isn't it? Even though, yeah, like you say, some people might find that annoying.
Though, as I say, those are the three versions that we tend to go for. Obviously, if you like something else, please let us know in the comments. Let us know what you think if you've tried any of these three. Hope you enjoy it.
Farewell, Quester. To find out about other productions by the Meddlesome Meeples, then check out our channel or rendezvous with us at meddlesomemeeples.com. Until next time, Quester, farewell and keep thine axe sharp.